Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Kim again. Starting this video is actually giving me a lot of anxiety because it's the same feeling as starting on a blank canvas. I'm always intimidated whenever I get started on things. But anyway, congratulate me for finishing or completing a Midori insert. This is my traveler's notebook and I'm gonna pick one of the inserts and gonna give you a tour. Anyway guys, please stay on my channel and hopefully you'll subscribe, and let's get on with the tour. So this is my Midori and let's take out the insert. I'm gonna just have to take this one out. So this is my Midori insert. As you can see, this is page 1. I have here like a painting of wings and it says Phoenix Rising. It's my way of telling myself that this is a new beginning and it's a new notebook, and I can just, you know, start with whatever new artwork I want to start with. I was using watercolors to paint the wings and some sort of colored fire and some of my, you know, thoughts on the page. This is just when I miss my dad, you know. It's been years since he passed away, and it was dated on his death anniversary. This is from the local travels they have here in Cebu. So that is a view from the restaurant on top of the hill in this place called the Bangon. And this one is the place where you can get street food. It's called Tisa. So I was with my one of my guy friends when we went there, and he actually invited me to dine with me in this restaurant because it was owned by his friend. And then we went down to have some street food. This is a place where you can get all those you know, local Cebu dim sum like siomai or ngoyong. And on the right side I was just writing my thoughts. I was using some kind of nib, but I couldn't remember exactly which one. I'm probably gonna have another, you know, video that's focusing on nibs. So anyway, this next page is just a postcard that I painted. I was using like dark blue. I'm not exactly sure which shade it was, but it's probably indigo. And then I put on some fine tip gold just to give it some glitter. And of course some washi tapes because I love washi tapes, as you can see that. Then here I painted a face. There is no symmetry on this face at all because I was just, you know, randomly thinking of maybe I should paint an eye. So I did focus on the eye first. I was using pencils. And then I decided to just put a wash of paint over it. I don't know if it's a bad drawing, but I don't think it's really that nice because of the lack of symmetry, but nonetheless it's still, you know, still a face. Then this is another page on my notebook with this calligraphy postcard. This isn't my favorite one though because I don't think it's me. It's just too colorful, or maybe just too much blue, I'm not sure. So I was just thinking about autumn at this time. I took a photo from Instagram or from the internet, and like I painted it using my watercolors, did some calligraphy, put in my stickers and then my washi tapes right there, and then did a brush calligraphy, and of course I wrote my thoughts. As you can see, I've improved my writing using the nib because I don't always use the nib. So it takes some practice, or it takes some time for you to get used to it again. And in this case, I think it has improved. Nonetheless, what matters most is that you keep on writing so that your handwriting will improve. And this is another page that is a bit more colorful than I really want it to be. What I did is I took up an artwork from the internet. I apologize to the artist for, you know, not knowing who he was. I just printed out on a sticker sheet and I cut them out and I pasted them here on the page, so you can see that. And as usual, Kim likes to write. So this is just a memory of San Francisco. I visited San Francisco again last year. That's 2017. My cousin brought me on my second day after I arrived in San Francisco. We crossed the bridge, you know, back and forth. And it was a really great feeling to be able to do that. And I even made a video when I crossed it. And then she also brought me down to the park. We went to Ghirardelli, as you can see in the photo. And of course, she had me eat the most delicious like chocolate ice cream I ever had, and chocolates as well. And then of course my thoughts again on this page. I'm not sure what I was using to write this down, but it's probably just one of my nibs again and washi tapes. Now this is not something I like. Again, it's too colorful. I didn't know where I was going. I was just writing all the words on all the drama that's going on in my mind. I was saying, pray and believe that life's sparkles will come shower your way. And then, I don't know, I just put in sparkles. I was using some of the glittery paints that I have, but it's not even showing. So I decided to, why not put in leaves? Because, you know, I'm not really sure where I'm going with this one. And put in some washi tape, so. But this one is something I like though. I first painted using my paints, and then I used like a white ink and my other colored inks to finish and put in details on the flowers. Now if you don't know what to do, if you're having an art block, then you can always do a what do you call this, a swatch of your watercolor paints. So this is a swatch of my small palette. I made this palette. You can see the difference, you know, between the quality of paints on a watercolor paper that is like 300 grams thick versus on a Midori sheet. But I actually turned out to like how it turns out on a Midori or on a Traveler's Notebook page because it's so vibrant. And I also painted some roses right here. And of course, my usual calligraphy practice. And then another reminiscing of my travels. This one I took in like 2017, that's last year. It was the second time I went to 17 Mile Drive in California. The same cousin brought me there. And then this is an older photo of Boreal, California back in 2009. It was the first time that I saw snow. And I was so excited. I had a lot of like fun memories during that time. And in both cases I was with my family. So I've written some calligraphy. It says memories of evergreen dreams of winter in the sea. And this is just a random painting of an animal, and it's a fox. I put it into reference who the artist, who the photographer was. It was like Matthias Oramo or something. It's on it's from Instagram. And I've written here which material I was using. I was using Caran d'Ache, watercolor, pencils, and the Sciapolitra. So if you notice, I limited my palette to just these 3 shades and an additional pencils because I don't want it to be too colorful, though it turned out to be still too colorful for a fox. There's another diary sort of entry. So I went to Clearwater, Florida, still same last year. I went to stay with my cousin for a month, you know, and they were so nice to accommodate me. And then a friend brought me here to the beach in Clearwater, and that's me a few pounds ago, I'd say. If you notice, I always like putting the washi tapes on the bottom of my entries, and in this case I was using like a map type sort of washi tape. And now this was done a few days before Christmas. If you notice, there's some thing on the artwork. There's a face, a sad face, I'd say. She's supposed to be crying, but I'm not really sure. So I just put in some flowers in there. I was kind of in a mixed emotion state when I did this because, you know, I spent most of my Christmas season alone, but then of course I still was able to communicate with my family, and of course I was able to meet up with friends as well. So this is like a holiday card that I made. And apparently the mood did not improve so well for third day. I drew this scenery, but this is not original. It's another photo from Instagram. It's a winter scene with all this evergreens in the foreground. So I limited my palette to just dark colors like Payne's gray and blues. Then finally, a few days before Christmas, I made a like happier note in here. I made some calligraphy with my glitter paints and another holiday postcard, and I painted Santa Claus. So this is like copying an artwork that already exists on the internet. Sorry for not having originality, but anyway. Next page is just a stamping activity and then watercoloring them. I did a separate video on this one. This is a Happy New Year kind of entry. I also did a separate video on this one. I was using my Finetech paint for this. As you can see, there's a lot of glitter. And you know, I'm really bad at calligraphy at times, especially when I'm feeling lazy. But nonetheless, I couldn't hide my mistakes. They should be there so that I can learn from it. So I was using my Daniel Smith walnut ink, you know, to write this down. And my trusty, you know, Finetech. Let me just pull that real quick. So this is it. And that photo right there is Lake Tahoe. It was an old one from 2009. I visited the lake again last year, but in a different season, I'd say. Another entry with so many colors on it, calligraphy and thoughts, and supposed to be like resolutions or things that I want to do. It says here I want to try free diving. Yeah, I should. I've been telling myself that, but I haven't really started with it. And I was using my bigger stamps, and I sort of mixed, you know, my different what do you call this, inks to kind of like achieve this. I do have lots of stays on inks, so I use these kinds of things, and like my Versacolor as well, you know. And this one is just a very calm morning. I decided to make some calligraphy. Calligraphy, and then I put on a wreath around it. So what I did is I used my stamps to produce those fine leaves, and then I painted random colored leaves around it. But it's not too random though, because I was conscious in making sure that I have a palette. I stick to my color theme, so I use just greens, browns, and blues. And for this calligraphy here, I actually normally use my Faber-Castell pens. So let me just pick up one right here from my stack. Normally I use this kind of pen, so this is actually the right one that I use. Oh, no, not this one, sorry. This one right here. So Faber-Castell. So this is how the tip would look like, and that is how it's gonna look like if you're gonna use it for calligraphy. And another calligraphy page. So just using another one of my brush pens for this one, and just some stamping activity. I use separate individual letters to produce this word, and I use my stays on for this one. And then this one is a swatch of my Daniel Smith watercolors. I don't have the tube, but I do have a card. I bought this from one of the, I don't know, people I followed on Instagram. She was selling this, you know, she's based in Manila, and then I just sort of like swatched them on this page. I'm not really sure if I like the colors that I have right now, because it's hard to tell just by doing a quick swatch. I have to do a real painting to be able to tell. And of course, another memory from Pebble Beach, California. This is from last year. I really like, you know, the scene because it's, you know, so dramatic and so out of this world. As you can see how the, you know, the trees bend, you know. This is normal. There was no wind It's just how they grow. And the next page is a painting of a flower. Let me see, there's nothing written behind it. So I'm pretty sure it's from Instagram again. It's from my feed. I love following people who take photos of flowers, despite that I also take photos of flowers. It's just that I'm too lazy to go through my photos and print them out and practice drawing. And of course, my entry. So this one is another calligraphy page, a simple calligraphy page. I put in like a simple saying, learn to be grateful, because I have to remind myself to be grateful. And then I put in some gold and green washi at the bottom. This one is another calligraphy practice because I didn't know what to do. And you notice that the letters are a bit fatter here because I was using my Koi brush pens. So this is what you see or what you get when you're using this kind of pen, because the tips are much thicker than the Faber-Castell. If you put them side by side, you can tell the difference actually. Let's see. I don't know if it's focusing. Okay. So I also illustrated a cat right here using my colored pencils. Once in a while I love using colored pencils. So this is a photo of, I got it from the internet, I think, obviously. Where else? And then my washi tapes. This is a postcard painting. Most of the time I have this very strong thoughts. So what I do is just put them out on the paper, and then at least I remember that at some point I was thinking about red, and then of a chair. I was using red paint. If I'm not wrong, I was using my Kodotake for this one, and then I'm just using a white pen. I can't remember the brand though. Another calligraphy page. I was using obviously my Faber-Castell to do all this. And on the other side, on the right side, I did a painting. For some reason I felt like putting a blank square. It's like a space where you can put in your photo, but honestly it's just something that I feel I want to do. So I put in a blank square space or whatever, and then I put in a random scenery, and it ended up looking like a forest at the bottom with some clouds on top and some reflections from the sun that is setting. Just another Stampin' calligraphy page. And then again, just wasting my my Finetec watercolors. These are my glitter paints. So which one did I use? I'm gonna just show you real quick. I got this pearl color fairy tale set from Coliro. I actually bought this when I visited Singapore a few months ago. The paints are quite nice, as you can see. And this is how they look when they're on the Midori paper. And of course, I have some gold washi. And then this is just using up my butterfly stamps. I love this, ballerina stamp. And I limited the colors to just blues and some browns. Of course, there's some orange in here, which is, I don't know, it's probably unplanned, but I just went ahead and just put it in there. Sorry, I moved the camera. So this is a painting of my cup of tea. Sometimes I love having my oolong tea in the mornings, and whatever kind of tea I have. Typically I have oolong or green tea, and at night I have chamomile. And this is an old postcard that I painted, I think, last year. and it's, you know, I just want to save it because sometimes if I don't put it on my diary, it's just gonna disappear, you know, or I'll probably just accidentally throw it away. So I was using paints and just trying to do a wet on wet. That's how I came up with this, you know, the blending of the colors on the flower. And this calligraphy here is actually a saying from the movie Alice in Wonderland, or the book, I mean. The only way to believe the impossible to believe it is possible. So I really believe in that. The last entry is of an apple, which I recently made a video on. I used my colored pencils to come up with this. So I think that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tour. And please give some love and subscribe to my channel. Bye!